Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News.
A local bar gets its permit revoked. Why folks who live nearby say it's a win for their neighborhood.
Police are investigating a string of shootings that sent 3 people to the hospital. After 2 seasons without an SEC win, the Cats come through at Commonwealth. WKYT News starts now. A Lexington nightclub is clouded in controversy. Good evening. I'm Kristen Kennedy. The Art Bar on Euclid Avenue plans to open tonight, just one day after city leaders revoked its conditional use permit. The owner of the Art Bar tells us he's operating within the law. WKYT's Garrett Weimer is outside the Art Bar tonight, learning neighbors are continuing to fight to shut the bar doors for good. Garrett?
10 minutes of testimony last night, and the Board of Adjustment decided to pull the permit that provided the conditions under which the Art Bar can operate as a nightclub. That includes things like hours of operation, soundproofing, and also the club's maximum capacity. But tonight, as you can see, we know its neighbors' battle to shut it down is far from over.
And we've had these problems going back for several years now.
We therefore strongly support the revocation of that permit.
The Board of Adjustment agreed after police testified Art Bar violated its conditional use permit by staying open later than it's allowed, citing the number of times they've been called there and made arrests. Neighbors I talked to who live here in the Ashland Park neighborhood say they'd frequently be woken up on the weekends and wake up in the mornings to find trash in their yard.
Just got kind of tired of it.
Art Swanberg was one neighbor who stood at Friday's meeting in support of pulling the permit. He says he doesn't think the place fits in with the surrounding neighborhood.
I have no problem with people enjoying themselves and young people having a good time, but it's just something where once you start spilling into the neighborhood, and especially at 2 o'clock in the morning for people who work, I just don't think it fits with the neighborhood.
The bar's owner has 30 days to appeal the board's decision in court. Swanberg says he and his neighbors are ready to keep fighting.
We're going to push it until it's done and until we're able to sleep again at night on the weekends.
I reached out to Art Bar owner Gerald Mack to get his response on the board's revoking of the conditional use permit. He says he plans to meet with his lawyer on Monday before he speaks with the media. Live on Euclid Avenue in Lexington, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Garrett, thank you. Lexington police say another hearing will be held next month to discuss revoking the club's liquor license. A grand jury indicted a Knox County man for shooting and killing his father earlier this month. The Times Tribune reports a grand jury indicted 37-year-old Travis Carnes for 1 count of murder. State police say he and his father, 61-year-old Harold Carnes, got into an argument at a home on Highway 223 in Walker. They say Travis Carnes shot his father. Police arrested him at that home. Today, friends and family of the Georgetown grad killed in South America honored her in her hometown. They held a memorial service in Marshall County for Erica Hagen. The 22-year-old was a recent graduate of Georgetown College. Chilean authorities found Hagen dead earlier this month in her apartment. She was in Chile teaching English. Police there have arrested a security guard at the Chilean school. Georgetown College is still planning their memorial. Leaders there have not set a date. Lexington police are investigating a string of shootings that sent 3 men to the hospital. The most recent shooting happened on Old Georgetown Street at 3 this morning. Officers went out to Jazzy G's bar after someone fired 5 shots and hit a man in the stomach. Around 10 last night, police say someone shot a man near a liquor store on Charles Avenue. And nearly 2 hours before that, police say someone shot a man in the neck on Bainbridge Court. A neighbor says he heard some of the gunfire.
It's allowed 4 or 5 boom, boom, boom shots. It's kind of scary knowing that my aunt lives 2 houses down. It happened right in front of her house.
Police don't know if the shootings are connected, but they are looking into that possibility. We're told all 3 injured men have non-life-threatening injuries. The streak is over. Today, the University of Kentucky Wildcats ended a 17-game SEC losing streak when they took on Vandy inside Commonwealth Stadium. Here now to talk highlights is WKYT's Lee K. Howard.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming since the Wildcats last won an SEC game. You have to go all the way back to November of 2011 for the last one. Only a handful of players were around back then. Mark Stoops certainly was not even around. Cats trying to snap that 17-game skid today, hosting Vandy. Patrick Tolles on the play-action fake goes over the middle to Ryan Timmons, and he finds his way across the goal line. The Cats complete the 99-yard opening drive to go up 7-0. Kentucky with back-to-back sacks, forcing the Vandy punt, but the second possession of the Wildcats went wrong. First play from scrimmage, Tolles threw that pick six to Darius Sims. It was tied at 7, and then just before halftime, there's Tolles getting across the end zone for the touchdown, and Kentucky was on top at the half. And the Wildcats defense, that's what came up big for them in the second half today. 3 interceptions on the day. 3 interceptions actually equaling the same amount of interceptions as they had all last year, limiting Vandy to just 139 yards of total offense in the entire game. And most importantly, putting an end to that streak. The Wildcats get the win 17-7 over the Commodores. And we will, of course, have much more from the Cats and hear from Mark Stoops and the players. That's coming up a little bit later in game time. Kristen?
Sounds good, Lee K. The Cats had a crowd of close to 57,000 fans in the stands during today's game. That number is one UK athletics leaders hope will just continue to grow as the season progresses. The last time the Cats played a home game to a sold-out crowd was 4 years ago. Today, they were just a few thousand shy of filling up. Fans hope this boost in team spirit will continue throughout the season.
2 good home wins and then, a very competitive loss down in Florida. And so I think the fans can see the progress the team making. We just hope to continue that throughout the season.
Tickets for next weekend's game against South Carolina are on sale. Today's weather was perfect out at Commonwealth Stadium. Tomorrow, though, could bring a change to our nice weather streak. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell's tracking changes for Sunday showers. Jim?
That's a good possibility. At least a few of them out there. A lot of us will stay on the dry side, of course. Just like tonight on Kentucky's most powerful live Doppler, that is Defender, of course. We're not tracking any showers out there at the moment, but once we get to tomorrow, a few could likely develop and sweep into our area. And I do mean a few. It's not going to be a washout by any stretch of the imagination. We look at some of the cloud cover that's also been drifting through the skies during the past few hours, and there's been plenty of it. And we expect even more as there's a lot of moisture just out to our west and especially down to our south that will continue to work its way toward the north. Our temperatures have been all over the place at times tonight, just like this. Danville at 59, you go over to Richmond 63, 68 in Moorhead. So we're kind of all over the place across central and eastern parts of Kentucky. We look at our 24-hour planner, though. We start things off in the morning with those clouds around 59 degrees, maybe the low 60s in some cases. We'll max out around 77 with a stray shower in our area tomorrow. But bigger changes are coming deep in that forecast. It's going to be a real snap back to the fall reality. I'll have more coming up for you in just a few minutes.
Turns out having one of the wettest summers on record is going to affect our fall. Outdoor experts say leaves will change color sooner. The color change usually peaks in mid-October, but due to the wetter than normal summer season, the process has started early. Experts say we can expect some beautiful fall foliage.
This will be a very good year, and people should get out and enjoy it, because I suspect this will be one of those years when we have really good color.
The Kentucky Department of Travel and Tourism has launched a website to track all the colors of fall. To find a link to the most colorful spots in the bluegrass, just go to WKYT.com. Still to come on WKYT, it's an ongoing effort to battle poverty. Tonight, members of the Lexington community met with a nationally known justice advocate to discuss disparities.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell and First Alert Defender.
It has been a very quiet day across central and eastern Kentucky, and it remains that way out there tonight. We're looking back toward the downtown area, and you can see no major issues, no lightning in the distance. It's just a cloudy night in many cases out there. Now, you will see, of course, some stars because the clouds are just not completely inundating us just yet. Temperatures are running in the 50s. You got some 60s, and then you look out to our west and even showing some 70s across other parts of Kentucky, around the Louisville area and down toward Fort Knox. But you can see other locations here here in the mid and upper 60s throughout our entire area. Even Mount Sterling, though, coming in with that 61-degree reading, and Danville in the 50s. So there's defenders scanning the skies all across Kentucky, and everything is quiet out there for you tonight, as it will likely be through maybe the first part of the day tomorrow before those clouds that we start tracking start to drop at least a few showers during the afternoon and evening. I think that'll be the primary time to get in on some of the activity. Clouds are thickening to our west, and that will continue working its way toward us here in central Kentucky initially, and then really starts filling the skies in eastern Kentucky as well. All of it coming right out of the Gulf. You see all of that cloud cover and all of those showers coming together to our south. A little wave of energy will be tracking along the Gulf Coast, and we'll have a little piece of energy that will be fed up toward us, which will enhance our chances of seeing at least a few showers on Sunday and going into your Monday. The best chance, I think, will really hang out in eastern Kentucky. You're looking, and southern Kentucky, of course. You're looking at Somerset, London, into Clay County there, Manchester, Hazard, up to Sigersville, and then shower chances. And what we mean by this is maybe more of an isolated threat to see some activity through central Kentucky as we progress through your Sunday and into Monday. So the points here, most of us are going to stay on the dry side, which is fine and dandy, but we do need to get a little bit of rain in our area. We're starting to dry things out a little too much. Only a few showers likely, unfortunately, so clouds. So that'll be the main thing that you see. And you can even see that here as we go hour by hour. There comes that big batch of cloud cover during the overnight. We're in the afternoon tomorrow, southern Kentucky getting in on the action. Some of it tries to get into central Kentucky, but better chances will start showing up once we advance into your Monday out in eastern parts of the Commonwealth. So we'll continue to track some of that rain around the area. Better chances of showers and storms are coming. They'll be a little bit later on in the week. We'll go through another dry period Tuesday through Thursday, it looks like. Starts to get rather windy, though. The winds will start to pick up, maybe gusting 30, 40 miles per hour. We're just looking at long range right now, but a big-time cool-down will follow that in with a very strong cold front toward the end of the week, Kristen.
Looks like it. Thank you, Jim.
Okay.
Members of the Lexington community came out tonight to discuss ways to build better communities and end poverty, along with special guest Dr. Cornell West. West is a professor and frequent media commentator who hopes his visit to the Bluegrass will help raise funds for a worthy cause.
We want to raise money for this magnificent organization involved in high-quality community action to focus on the priceless and precious vulnerable people in Lexington and other counties.
All proceeds from the event will support the Community Action Council's effort to battle poverty. Coming up, the Wildcats get a win in the SEC, and several other Kentucky teams were on the field across the state. Lee K has highlights next in Game Time.
Football Wildcats were back after taking a week off, and while the offense was sleepwalking today at Commonwealth Stadium, UK's defense was wide awake. Bill Cronin's Bengal Tigers have their own high-flying offense, and it was on display again today. And the U.S. finds itself in a big hole heading into the final day at the Ryder Cup. All that and more coming up on WKYT Game Time. Mark Stoops has preached about changing a culture since he arrived in Lexington. Several hurdles for the Wildcats to overcome in order to do so, including that nasty 17-game SEC losing streak. But after starting the year 2-1, the Cats were a favorite against Vanderbilt this afternoon. Kentucky would start its first drive on the 1-yard line. Patrick Tolles on the play-action fake later in the drive goes over the middle to Ryan Timmons, and he finds his way across the goal line. The Cats complete the 99-yard opening drive to go up 7-0. The defense put pressure on the Commodores all game, and on 2nd and 10, Wade Freebeck is sacked by Bud Dupree, a loss of 5 on the play. That set up a 3rd and 15, and here come the Cats again. This time it's Josh Forrest and Blake McLean meeting at the quarterback, combining for the sack. That play would result in a punt, but on Kentucky's next play from scrimmage, Tolles' pass intercepted by Darius Sims and returned for the Vandy touchdown. Ties the game at 7 apiece. Kentucky's next offensive possession would stall just past midfield, but Austin McGinnis says, hey, no problem. 45-yard field goal, that's good. Puts Kentucky back on top 10-7. A minute to go before the half. Tolles escapes the pocket, rolls to his right, throws downfield to Javis Blue. My boy Blue, 19-yard gain on the Vandy 15-yard line. Blue with 35 receiving yards. That would lead to this 1-yard plunge by Tolles with 12 seconds to go in the half to give the Wildcats the 10-point advantage going into the locker room. The second half highlights would be brought to you by the letter D, as in defense. Freebeck's pass is batted into the air and intercepted by Marcus McWilson. That's his first career INT. The offense, meanwhile, would struggle following the Tolles fumble. Cats defense comes up with another pick. A.J. Stamps this time with the interception and the return. And then with just over 5 minutes to go after a muffed punt by the Wildcats, Vandy inside Kentucky territory, and the defensive pressure forces Freebeck to throw this one into the arms of Ashley Lowry. They come up with big plays, play after play, 3 interceptions on the day. That's as many as Kentucky had all last season. Most importantly, though, that streak is over. Kentucky comes away with the 17-7 win. Our main man, Rob Romley, now with more from Commonwealth.
The Cats celebrating an SEC victory. That hasn't happened since the end of the 2011 season. Mark Stoops really happy about the play of his defense in this game. So much so, he was dancing for his players afterwards in the locker room.
I don't know what it was, but he was doing something. You know, the music was on. And it looked like Fred Sanford in there. So he was dancing, but it wasn't really too much moves happening.
It was really a good moment, and like I said, for the rest of the season, getting wins, we want to be able to see him that way all the time.
The ingredients, when we have a couple, good D linemen, that are good, really good players, and it's always good to start with them. And I feel like even the inside guys that haven't had much experience have played very tough and doing a very good job inside. And Bud and Z are getting good pressure and doing a lot of good things on the edges. We're getting better and better at linebacker.
The Cats need to get some things straightened out on offense. This was the poorest game that Patrick Tolles has played. But Kentucky is 3-1, and a big game with South Carolina shaping up next Saturday night. Here at Commonwealth Stadium, Rob Bromley, WKYT Game Time.
Now, if we could just figure out how to get our hands on that Mark Stoops dancing video, that would be a highlight. A look at the numbers from today. Kentucky finishes with 384 total yards, 201 of those passing, 183 yards rushing, while holding the Commodores to just 139 yards. That's the fewest allowed by UK in an SEC game since 1996. Turnovers were big for both teams. 3 interceptions for the UK defense, and time of possession well in favor of the Cats by almost 17 minutes. Meanwhile, the SEC schedule only gets tougher for the Cats, back at home hosting the old ball coach in South Carolina next week. This evening, the Gamecocks at home taking on Missouri. Pick it up in the fourth quarter. Dylan Thompson hits Pharaoh Cooper, a great passing catch here for the 23-yard touchdown. That made it 20-7 with under 8 minutes to go, but with under 2 minutes left, now 20-14. Tigers have to go for it on 4th and goal from the 1-yard line, and once again it's Russell Hansbrough breaking the plane for the score. That gives Missouri the 21-20 lead, and look at the upset. Missouri gets it over South Carolina, 21-20. The final score there. Tennessee at number 13, Georgia. Georgia led this game 21-17 at the half, and no surprise, this one turned into the Todd Gurley show. That's a Gurley man there, and he's not going to let anyone stop him. Into the end zone for the touchdown in the fourth quarter. He breaks through and takes it all the way for the 51-yard score, 28-17, and then Tennessee would cut it to 3, but Georgia capitalizes on the turnover shortly after. Fans are shocked. Tennessee's Jalen Hurd fumbles the ball in the end zone, and Josh Dawson recovers it for the Gators touchdown. Gurley with a career-high 208 yards on the ground and 2 scores as Georgia hangs on to get that win 35-32. Well, 6 former Wildcats are inducted into the UK Athletics Hall of Fame this weekend, and we check in with several other Kentucky schools on the gridiron this Saturday. Those highlights are next in Game Time. The list of accomplished former Kentucky athletes is a long one, and each year Wildcats are added to the Hall of Fame. 6 Wildcat greats were recognized at halftime of today's Kentucky football game. All 6 inducted into the UK Athletics Hall of Fame last night, including Sarah Witten from tennis, former major leaguer Terry Shumpert, bronze medalist Passion Richardson, and Pat Etcheberry from track, former UK football player Marty Moore, and also current NBA veteran Keith Bogans.
Football was that catalyst that afforded me the opportunity to stay focused, to take my aggression out during the tough times in my life, and ultimately got me down the right path.
Me, I'm always positive. Nobody expected me my career to last as long as it did. I'm still playing. I'm still healthy. I'm just blessed. You know, I just appreciate that I had the opportunity to come here and play for 4 years, and where it's taken me, I can't give enough thanks.
But Cleveland, he hardly knew thee. Less than 2 days after Keith Bogans was acquired in a 5-player deal with the Celtics, the Cavs turned right back around and sent Bogans to the Philadelphia 76ers today for a second-round pick in 2015. So why trade Bogans so quickly? The move gives Cleveland a $5.3 million trade exception, which will be attractive for future Cleveland trade partners. Bogans now gets to team up with Nerlens Noel in the city of brotherly love. Georgetown football put 63 points on the board in both of its first 2 games of the season, while allowing its opponents a combined 21 points. Tigers looking to make it 3 straight, hosting Kentucky Christian this afternoon. Tigers on top 21-0 in the second. Neil Posset with the pitch to Clay Kesterson, and he's in for 6 more. 28-0 Georgetown. Kentucky Christian with a chance to get on the board, attempting that 35-yard field goal. I said attempted it, got blocked by Devin Daniel. KCU remains scoreless, under 1 minute to play in the half. Tigers looking to add to their lead. Posset rolls right, finds Ben Patnod, a great catch in the back of the end zone. Not quite 63 points, but it'll do. Georgetown gets the win, 48-14. To Danville now, center playing host to Washington of Missouri. Colonels up and adding to their lead in the second. Nolan Coulter takes it in from 11 yards out, says hi to his mom in the camera. Center goes up 20-0. And the center defense getting it done as well. Sam Van Doren's pass picked up by Taylor Peoples. 22-yard the other way for the Peoples. Steps out of bounds, however, and the Colonels would capitalize later in the drive. Heath Hayden finds Blake Martin, and he is in for 6 as center stays unbeaten with another impressive win, 50-20. Louisville at home hosting Wake Forest. Second quarter, Brandon Radcliffe breaks the big one. 29-yarder for the score. Cards go up 7-3. It would stay that way into the third. Cards backed up. Reggie Bonifant sacked by Tyler Harris, and he recovers the fumble himself in the end zone, and Wake Forest goes back in front. But Radcliffe and the Cards would not be denied. Watch the effort on this run. He worked for all 16 yards of this touchdown as Louisville tops Wake 20-10. Well, after 17 straight SEC losses, the Cats giving Mark Stoops his first league win and snapped that streak that dated all the way back to the last game in 2011. We head back out to Commonwealth Stadium for tonight's Coach's Corner.
I'm pleased with the progression. We're not, you know, I've said that over and over. We're not perfect. We're far from it. We're a work in progress, but they really have a good attitude, and they've really prepared. And I know I say that over and over, but that's where it's all done. I mean, what are we doing all week to put ourselves in a position to win games?
Day 2 of the Ryder Cup. Not the greatest of days for the Americans, but we head out to the links for the highlights. That's next on Game Time. Day 2 of the Ryder Cup, and things not much better for the Americans. This morning it was 4-ball, and Hunter Mahan rolling in the birdie. He and Jim Furyk would defeat Jamie Donaldson and Lee Westwood. The U.S. getting a big shot at Jimmy Walker rolling in the birdie here. The Americans have the hole with Ian Poulter and Rory McIlroy. The U.S. would take the morning 2.5 to 1.5. Alternate shots in the afternoon, and the Europeans smoked the Yanks. McIlroy from the sand. He and Sergio Garcia beat Mahan and Furyk. And then Justin Rose rolls in the putt on 18 to halve the match for the Europeans. Europe takes the afternoon matches 3.5 to 1.5, meaning that they only have to win 4 of the 12 matches tomorrow in singles. We will have those highlights for you coming up tomorrow night. But that's all we have for tonight. That'll do it for this edition of Game Time. Good night, Kentucky.